All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday night, and it's officially Hump Day's over. And as a result, you get me, but not only me, you also get my good friend and co-host, the big toe himself, Mr. Don Longbeard's here. How you doing, Don?
Who?
It's you.
Me? Oh boy. Hey, there's the link for the Discord again. So there you go.
You getting a head start?
Well, no, somebody's already out. You know.
Oh, okay, very good.
Don't forget. Oh, Chucky said, "Don't forget the question of the week." So yep. I posted the link again.
And the Discord link is in the chat. So, yeah, if you want to put it in there, there is a question of the week up. It's for tonight's show, and so far we only got 4 responses, so it's going to be a quick segment. But if any of you want to weigh in on that, please feel free. There's still time. But welcome, everybody, and hope your week is going good. Thank you so much for joining Don and I here on the show. We appreciate your humble friendship and companionship. We're all companions, right, Don?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are companions, damn it. And we got a lot to get to tonight. As always, we're going to be doing the news. We got that coming up in just moments here, but then we're going to get to the Discord question of the week and read through the responses there and talk about it. And then we're heading off into some strange and wonderful paranormal stuff, and then we'll end it up in the Cryptid corner. Not the Cryptid corner, but the Cryptid corner.
Where Don always ends up in the corner.
Yeah, well, nobody puts Don in a corner. Thank you.
Wow, that was low. There you go. Better? That's much better. Yeah.
It's all about the volume, Don. So, but yeah, we got a lot to get to. And Don, you doing good?
Don is just fine today.
Good. Yeah. All right. Well, you know what else is just fine, Don?
The news?
Not the news, but the news is fine.
The news. This is news too, though.
This is news too, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up on June 17th, 23 of this year, which means 23 is this year. We have the Spokane Valley Sasquatch Roundup coming up, and this is in Spokane Valley, Washington State. So if you're got a hankering to go do something in June 17th and you happen to be in our neck of the woods or can be in our neck of the woods, we'd love to have a chance to get together with you because I'm going to be there and Don might be there. And, by God, we're going to have a good time because Dr. Jeff Meldrum will be there, as will Cliff Barrickman, Ken Gerhard, Michael Freeman, son of Paul Freeman of the Freeman footage, and Michael Thompson, who is an author from Alaska dealing with Sasquatch, and a good personal friend, Mr. Charles Howard Johnson, will be there. So it's going to be an epic event, and there is a VIP dinner following the day of presentations. So if you want to be a part of all of that, head over to let me get it up on the screen, exnorthwest.com. And you can find out more information about this and how to get tickets. Again, the actual conference is 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. VIP dinner is at 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. So, but you got to get advance tickets for that. They're selling out fast. I don't know how many seats are left for that. But if you want to get one for you and someone you love, then by all means, www.exnorthwest.com. So love to see you hanging out there. Again, Spokane Valley Sasquatch Roundup, and this will be happening at the Spokane Valley Event Center located in Spokane Valley, Washington State. So check it out if you can. But again, exnorthwest.com is where you can find more information.
I was just in Spokane last night.
Were you?
Yeah.
Did you have a good time?
We went to Shinyu.
How was that, by the way?
It was awesome.
Was it beautiful?
It was awesome.
Shinyu.
It was great.
Yeah, that stage presentation.
Yep. Awesome.
that sounds fantastic. Good. I'm glad you had a good time. I, however, was right here, just slaving away at the studio desk.
Trust me, we didn't get home until midnight.
Yeah, but you have all those memories, Don.
That's true.
And all those amazing acrobatics and displays of art and culture. So
definitely culture.
Yeah. So anyway, now, Don, do you know what time it is?
It is time for a nap.
Nope. Done news.
Done news.
Time for done news, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to the news and let's see what I've pulled up for your enjoyment. I know there's one article that's already cracking me up. Boy. But we'll get to that in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the news and find out just what the hell's going on in the world of the weird and wonderful right now. How about the wonderfully weird? The wonderful and weird. That's how we roll. My beatbox days might be over. We are the most trusted news, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk, where Don and I will do our best to bring you some news. I don't know if we're anchors. We are anchors, but we're a different kind of anchor. Oh, yeah. We're the kind that hold boats.
Right? Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I know I'll float.
Yeah.
Because they all float down here, Georgie.
Ooh. Yeah, all right. Well, let's get to some news. I'm going to leave that all alone. Right now, we've got our first article coming up. What the hell? I got to be able to close this ad, but it's not participating, Don.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's just this big, well, I guess.
I'm not sure if you move it, it'll reduce the
I don't know if you can. Oh, there we go. Wow. Way to think outside the box. Thank you. Don's thinking outside the box.
But it moved again. It moved.
Oh, it'll come back.
Yep.
But if it's off to the side, that's fine. It'll just cover up all that other garbage.
What if you refresh it?
What if? Then I'll probably get the damn ad, and I kind of like this better. So we're going to go with this, ladies and gentlemen. The first article up, I think, is an interesting one because I've heard hankerings or musings of this in the past. I don't know if I've ever shared it before, but for a while I used to go out panning gold and doing that. And I talked to some people in the gold business and stuff, and they said that the legend says there's still half of the gold in America still out there, that the whole gold rush and all of that might have got about half of what's there, but there's still an equal half left there in the dirt somewhere. So let's see what this article is from unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. Please support the site. Wonderful site. We love it. This is how much of the Earth's gold reserves have we found and how much is left? Well, that's a great big one. Great big question mark, but let's see what they say. And this is from by TK Randall, as everything is on this site. He's just amazing. He or she. But it says gold is a valuable and highly coveted resource. Oh, really? But just how much of the Earth's gold supply have we found so far? For thousands of years, mankind has been obsessed with finding gold, whether it be for creating jewelry, building modern electrical components, or simply as a way of obtaining wealth. Our own planet is home to quite a significant quantity of gold, but the actual amount that has been mined to date is perhaps a lot less than you might think. If you took all the gold ever mined and made it into a solid cube, the cube would only measure 23 by 23 by 23 meters, or wow, 75 by 75 by 75 feet. That's really still a huge chunk of gold. I guess that's all that's ever been mined so far. Due to the density of gold, however, this cube would weigh a whopping 187,000 tons, wow, like an aircraft carrier then. In total, around 57,000 tons of gold is still waiting to be dug up and from mines around the world, a feat that could potentially be achieved within as little as 20 years. I don't know if that's good or not, though. I mean,
I don't either.
Beyond that, there are significant additional supplies of gold under the ground. Well, where's the other part coming from? It says from mines, but then there's significant additional supplies of gold under the ground, which are where mines are. But anyway, beneath the ocean.
Oh,
but most, if that would be too expensive or impractical to actually acquire. There is also the possibility of mining gold off-world. Mm-hmm. Deposits can be found on the moon. Really? Wow. That's what those aliens are doing. And there are countless asteroids flying around that would put the Earth's entire supply to shame. Without advanced spacefaring technology, however, obtaining any of that will likely remain the stuff of science fiction for the foreseeable future. So you go.
Except for Master Gen X or Elon Musk.
Well, yeah, I guess they're going to go check out some asteroid out there that's made mostly of nickel and stuff. So wow, I guess they were going to send some probes out there to check it out. And after all, Japan just landed and took a sample of an asteroid not too long ago. Right, so, yeah. I mean, it's doable if it's close enough. I mean, the asteroid belt is going all the way around the sun. I bet you there's lots of gold nuggets in there. Mm. But there you go, folks. Lots of gold left. Grab your pans, hit the streams. You might be the one to find the keepers. But I don't know. Could happen, Don, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Elaine Clifford said boat anchors can be useful. Yeah, to drag things down.
Yeah, to keep the boat from floating. Meanwhile, we have to be on the bottom to do our job.
That's true. Hey, we could be mining down while we're down there.
Yeah, let's get some of that
stuff.
Some of that gold.
That gold stuff.
All right, let's go to the next article here on the news. And
that's why we don't go to the moon anymore. Because maybe the Anunnaki are mining the
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I thought of when they said there was gold. Yeah. Lots of significant deposits on the moon. It's like, oh, okay. That explains all those structures. Here's another one from unexplained-mysteries.com, folks. Long-lost 1,500-year-old Bible chapter discovered using UV light, Don.
Wow, there's a lot of things you can use UV light for.
It's good to bring to hotels.
It's smart to bring to a hotel.
Yeah. Let's check those linens, honey. The ancient text constitutes a hidden chapter of the Bible that had been concealed beneath other layers of text. It's not every day that someone discovers a new biblical text, but this recent find, which was made thanks to a technique known as ultraviolet photography, is very much the real deal. The text, which is one of the earliest old Syriac translations of the Gospels, is now one of the only 3 known manuscripts of this kind, with one of the other 2 being kept in the British Library in London and the other being found at St. Catherine's Monastery at Mount Sinai. The writing itself was hidden beneath several other layers of text and could only be revealed using ultraviolet light, a bit like something out of an Indiana Jones movie. The reason it had been written over was because at the time parchment was in short supply, and it was not unusual for the same pages to be reused multiple times. As far as the dating of the gospel book is concerned, there can be no doubt that it was produced no later than the 6th century, the study authors wrote. Despite a limited number of dated manuscripts from this period, comparisons with dated Syriac manuscripts allows us to narrow down a possible time frame to the first half of the 6th century.
Wow.
Well, I think there's an argument made by Elaine Pagels of Harvard University that the Gospel of Thomas might have been written literally 40 years after the life of Jesus. So, and others were written, I don't know, a couple decades later. I think the next would have been the book of John. That was like 60 years. I don't know. I might be really mistaken about those, which ones, but the Gospel of Thomas I know is alleged to have predated all the other Gospels.
Wow.
So
did not know that.
Yeah, it's funny with the unusual things bouncing through my head.
Yeah, well, I can relate.
Yes, you can. I just heard a whole bunch of them before the show.
Yep. I got triggered this week.
Yeah, Don got triggered. So
we'll just leave that at that.
Yeah, but anyway, there you go. A new copy of the Gospels. I don't know if that's going to reveal anything that isn't already in the Gospels, but it's kind of neat.
Maggie says, "Who decides what stays in and what doesn't?"
The Council of Nicaea in the Roman Empire under Constantine decided what was canonical and what wasn't. That was kind of the prospect when. So early Christianity was really, really disorganized. It was the Gnostics, then all these other sects, and they all had their own writings and stuff. And it took Constantine, when he adopted Christianity as the Roman Empire religion, to fabricate a council of all of these bishops and such, and they went through all these texts and decided what was canonical and what wasn't. So that's why there's the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Gospel of Thomas and potentially what's the book written by Noah's dad or whatever.
The Book of Methuselah.
Yeah, but
Enoch, the Book of
Enoch. That's the one I was trying to think of. Enoch. Yeah, so all those things kind of got cast to the side and became apocryphal. So, yeah, that's the history as I understand it.
Okay, wait, stop, back up. I'm usually the one throwing 50-cent words at you. I know the word apocryphal, but what does it mean?
Well, it's just legendary. They're not recognized as the official canonical texts, so they're considered tales, apocrypha. Yep. So I know a few big words, just a few. But anyway,
the last one you used, we were driving back from. It was semaphore.
Semaphore. Oh yeah. Semaphores. Yep.
Yep. Semaphore.
Signal lights. Yep. All right, so that's that article. Hopefully you learned something there. If not, well, I'm sorry. Maybe you already knew that, and if you did, fantastic. So let's move on to the next one. The next article on our newscast is kind of a weird one. This guy seems rather relaxed given his company in his car. And what am I talking about? Well, according to unexplainedmysteries.com, man in China, unfazed by huge swarm of bees in his car. There you go. They're just sitting there.
Oh, my.
He's like, ooh, I get honey. Yeah, they're just sitting there in his car. Okay, the excitable, he doesn't seem very excitable. If he's just grinning for a selfie with a swarm of bees above his head. The excitable driver seemed more enthusiastic than nervous about driving with the insects in his vehicle. For most people, the prospect of driving along a busy road with a large swarm of bees positioned just inches above their head would be the stuff of nightmares. But for one man in China recently, the prospect of such a scenario evoked feelings more of elation than that of fear and dread. In a clip filmed on April 1st, April 1st? And distributed on social media, the man who was driving along a rural road in eastern China's Anhui province at the time gleefully laughed into the camera as he pointed out the huge mass of bees that had swarmed into the roof inside of his vehicle. The bees had reportedly entered the car the day before, but rather than having them removed, the man had chosen to drive anyway because he believed having them there was good luck.
Oh, my.
Wow. That's good, as long as you don't, you're not allergic.
Right.
Check him out. I'm going to be rich, he said. He's like, he's going to start a honey farm. I'm going to be rich. It's certainly not unusual for bees to swarm at this time of the year as they search for a new site to build their hive with their queen, but driving with them inside the car is definitely ill-advised. You can check out the clip yourself below. Why not? Right, Don?
Well, yeah, sure. You know, you can die from bee stings. It doesn't matter if you're allergic or not. But you get stung enough, you're going to die.
Yeah, well, unless you start licking the thing, you're probably going to be okay because bees are generally
That's true.
pretty docile.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless they're ground bees, and then they're angry little bastards. But that's a different story.
It's because they can't fly.
Oh no, they can. They fly just fine. They hit your bare ankle.
Oh.
My grandma had an ankle the size of a balloon after she stepped on a
Wow.
ground bee's nest. I was mowing my yard one time back in Minnesota, and I was mowing along, and all of a sudden I'm noticing all these weird specks flying out from the side of the mower, and then I realized they were bees. So I
You
just
should have just stayed right over it.
I did. I had the safety disengaged on the thing, so I just let it go and let it run. Got a pop and sat there and watch it spit out pieces of bees. Those things are mean, and even that didn't get rid of them. But I let it run for a while, and then later came out with some gasoline.
Oh, lit 'em up.
Yeah, I lit them up because. Yeah, I had a small child. I was like, and that was our backyard. It's like, well, he can't play where he's gonna, roll a ball over this and piss off the whole hive. So,
Right.
yeah, let's check out this guy's deal.
你看，爬这么多的蜜蜂，你看，
Wow.
就看着，摸掉，
He kept calm and carried on driving in a mountain village. He's happy. That guy is happy. Huh.
大家看这是什么啊？
Look at
我一边开车一边爬那个蜜蜂来了，你看。
They came in while I was driving. Wow.
爬这么多的蜜蜂，你看，就看着看着。
I think he needs to drive a little faster. If a whole swarm of bees came in while you're driving,
Yeah, that'd be.
that's a pretty slow car. Yeah, they're there. Wow. Wow.
Rachel says, I bet there's a queen there. And there probably
Yeah,
is, yeah.
they're all massed around a queen for sure. Yep, they're looking for a new home. Wow. Singing with the bees. Oh, we don't get to hear that. We just get there. Well, not attack a passenger. I didn't really read that, but anyway. The bees gathered in the car for the whole day, she added. Oh, and then they must have... They were like, he was their Uber. This guy's like Chinese Uber. I wonder what they tip. Driver spent the whole day with the bees peacefully. I can't even stay with them for a minute. Yeah. There you go. Well, there you have it. This guy did the whole journey, folks,
Wow.
with a bunch of bees. You don't see that every day, Don.
Well, he had a bee in his bonnet.
Well, he had a whole hat of them right above his head. The bonnet was bees, as it worked out. Here's a great story I think Don will enjoy quite a bit. I'm going to drag it low so you can't cheat. Don't cheat, Don.
No cheating, sorry.
But you're going to love this science news because this is right up your alley, brother. This is one you're going to be excited about.
Okay.
All right, don't open yet. And open. UnexplainedMysteries.com. James Webb Telescope captures highly impressive image of Uranus.
My favorite color is butthole.
I don't know why they got it pointed at Uranus, Don, but apparently they got pretty good images now.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, well, if it can be seen from space, Don, that's kind of an achievement.
What are you trying to say?
Well, that and the Great Wall, I don't know.
That's not a wall. It starts with a B.
That's just so wrong. Don't even. Oh, now I got to drink something. I wish
Anything to help forget that.
Not a wall. Oh dear God. So anyway, we got that going, Don. Got a good picture of Uranus. NASA's flagship space telescope has turned its sights towards Uranus, Don. And the results are breathtaking, to say the least. Maybe you do need to start that OnlyFans. Like a blue gemstone shining in the night sky.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
I think it's more like a black hole, but anyway. The innate beauty of Uranus
Thank you.
has been brought into sharp focus, Don.
Every little crinkle. Anybody got any Botox?
Did he just wink? Sure focus this week, thanks to the release of a new image captured by the James Webb Space Telescope.
My brown-eyed girl.
Most notably, the image shows the seventh plane's enigmatic rings. Dear God.
Seventh plane. How about how the
So it sounds like hell. Doesn't it sound like hell? It is planet, I guess. Yeah. I'm trying to read through squinting, laughing eyes. Seventh planet's rings, as well as several of its moons, including Ariel, Miranda, Umbriel, or Umbriel. Is that UM? UM. Umbriel, Titania, and Oberon. Oh, they're named after fairies. The king and queen of the Fae is Titania and Oberon. This planet is characterized as an ice giant due to the chemical makeup of its interior.
Dude.
Most of its mass is thought to be hot. Dense fluid of icy materials. I don't know. Water, methane, and ammonia.
Wait,
definitely methane.
It said hot, dense fluid of icy material.
I don't even know how that works.
Dense, icy. Where does that come in?
Above a small rocky core.
You think? It's called a heart.
It's just the stones he's moving. Uranus has 13 known rings.
Does it?
And 11 of them are visible in this Webb image. Some of these rings
I have no privacy.
are so bright. Get curtains, for God's sakes. With Webb, that they are close together. They appeared to merge into a larger ring, Don.
That's actually a stripe. A stripe.
9 are class test main rings of the planet, and 2 of the fainter dusty
Faint dusty. That makes more sense.
such as the diffuse Zeta ring closest to the planet, that weren't discovered until the 1986 flyby by Voyager. Don, you got a career.
Apparently I do. Gosh, that was the last thing Voyager saw as it went out of the solar system.
It just got the hell out.
It was like, oh my God!
It just noped right out of the solar system after
The
that.
neighbors have to be better.
Well, there you go. That's news you might not have known, but nor needed. Yeah. You didn't want to know or need it, but now you got it. It's in your head, and you're welcome.
And it burns. Yeah. The ring of fire. Thank you, Maggie.
Your icy hot ring of fire. Oh my God!
Oh.
I saw that and went, "Oh, this is gonna be good."
So when I was working for the prison, we had to.
Is this going to be family friendly?
Yes, it's okay.
We just got done reading about Uranus, and then you start going into prison stories. I'm nervous.
Actually, it's because you brought up the icy hot thing. So we had to be, tased and we had to be, pepper sprayed.
Oh, funny.
And it was fun. Anyhow, this big guy, ironically, his last name was Short. Big guy. So we were being sprayed. They were pepper spraying us, and then we had to go and walk over and handcuff somebody. Well, pepper spray us, right? And then we could go wash up. Well, this one guy, Short, who wasn't very short, he disappeared. We couldn't find him. And so I was taking a walk off my slight burn. Got a waterfall going on.
Check your mic cord and plug in there. There it goes. That's fine.
So anyhow, they spray him and he disappears, right?
Yeah.
So I'm walking around, walking mine off, trying to, breathe and this, that, and the other, and just kind of get through it. Mm-hmm. And I find him behind the admin building. Okay. Practically crying.
Ooh.
So one thing you don't do is you don't put hot water on oil.
Oh.
Because what does it do? It spreads it.
Yeah.
You use cold water.
Okay.
It doesn't.
Motor.
Motor?
Yeah, it says mortar.
Mortar?
MOTOR. Motor.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go. And by the way, thank you to the spirits that joined us just before we went live.
Yeah.
Nice to have you here.
I turned it on and I got ready to launch the show and it did the parcel tongue thing. So, yep. So your story?
So anyhow, so what happened was he used hot water trying to wash it all off, and it ran down to the nether parts.
It
And yes, I understand.
it visited the underworld.
I understand his ring was on fire. He's just miserable.
Oh no, that poor guy. That's not even fair. Wow. Poor guy. All right, we're going to do one more story here, and this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Aboriginal knowledge upends debate on mysterious fairy circles.
Gosh.
Wow, interesting. Let's see what it says. This is the original inhabitants of Australia have much to teach modern scientists about the nature of this intriguing phenomenon.
Wow.
It's on the screen there. You can see an image of all these little rings. It says, what are fairy circles? They are polka dots of bare earth regularly scattered across arid grasslands. Scientists first described fairy circles in Namibia in the 1970s and sparked a global debate on the scientific community about the causes of the phenomena. I bet you they're meant to capture water, but let's see. In 2016, a group of international scientists concluded that the Australian Pilbara fairy circles arose from spinifex plants competing for water and nutrients. Similar explanation to the one they proposed for the fairy circles in Namibia. These stories were amplified by the media, but the voices of Aboriginal desert people were not reported. In a study published in Nature and Ecology and Evolution today, we show what our Aboriginal co-authors have always known, that the fairy circles in the western deserts of Australia are flat, hard pavements inhabited by spinifex termites.
Oh.
So it's this is going to be really long, isn't it?
Well, it's going to be very
sciencey, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So apparently it's made by termites, folks. It's not by the plants. It's not to collect water. Right. So it's made by termites. I guess that's good enough. But scientists, 0. Aborigines, win. W for win. Nice job. Yep. Listen to the Aboriginals. Listen to the natives. Listen to the people that have been there for centuries. You know, don't pontificate about all you know. Just talk to the locals. They know what's going on. They've been there. But cool story. So there you have it, Don.
There you have it.
Do you feel educated?
I am educated. All
right, folks. That's going to wrap up the news for tonight. So let's get back to the rest of the show and see what else we can cook up here. All right.
Your mic's live.
Oh no, Dan. Oh no. So Dan, I hope the single life treats you well. That's all I'm gonna say. Because that's not how you're supposed to do it. All right, folks. So welcome back to the rest of the show as we dive into yet more of the fun that we've curated for your benefits. Hopefully you're ready to be entertained, and hopefully good laugh. Thanks again, guys, for sure. Chucky, you came to the right place. I mean, my God, we try. And I'm glad you guys have a good laugh with us. It's laughing together. We're not laughing at anybody except Don's Uranus.
Yeah, well. As long as it's just my anus.
The rest of you is fine, Don. It's those icy, fiery, hot rings of yours.
Rings of fire.
Oh, my God. All right, so let's get on with the rest of our journey tonight. Let's see. What's next, Don? Oh, it's Duh. What am I doing here?
I don't know. See, so
where the hell are you?
Are you yeah, because that was, yeah. I don't know.
There you are.
Oh, well, yeah, but the chat's all the way over there, too.
What? Oh, what the hell is going on? Oh, Jesus. I know what I'm doing here.
Apparently you don't.
I thought I switched to the other panel of buttons, but I hadn't. So that explains it.
So go back to the one you used for the news when you put the two screens on.
Okay.
Yeah, see all the chats on the other side now. It's underneath that.
Yeah, I know because it's because I got the Ghost Radar up, and so we don't get to see that on screen during the news, but can only broadcast so much, man. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are going to enter the next phase of our journey tonight, and this is one that I've found incredibly pleasurable and enjoyable. And I really appreciate all your guys' involvement on these questions of the week because, you know, it's great to hear your guys' take on this stuff. You guys have been around for a long time now. Many of you have been with us for years. You've heard all the stories. You've heard our position on things. And finally, we get to hear yours. And so without further ado, let's get into the question of the week. Don, you ready?
Let's do the Discord question of the week.
Amen. Boom. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the question of the week segment. And this, of course, has to do with our Discord server. Don had earlier put a link in the chat in terms of how you can get involved in case you're brand new to the show and you're like, you guys got a Discord? Yeah, we got a Discord. And we'd love for you to be a part of it. There's several chat threads and stuff available in our Discord. And let me just pull it up here so you can see. Here's our Discord. And over here is all the different chat threads dealing with many different paranormal subjects. But we also have the question of the week. And what this is our opportunity to ask you guys, our Discord community, your opinion on this strange phenomena. And it can be anything from ghosts to cryptids to UFOs to strange phenomena to anything else we can think of. So, and we also enjoy asking your questions. So if any of you have questions that you'd like to ask the community to see what people think, just send them to me or Don or whomever, and we'll get them up on the screen in one of our following segments. These are posted before every live show. I try to get them up the night before. Today I didn't. Thank you, Chucky. You saved me again. I was sitting there thinking, Chucky's like, hey, is there a question? I'm like, yeah. But it was late in the day. It was afternoon. So I apologize again. Wednesdays are tough for me because I'm bouncing through all kinds of stuff on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then I'm trying to get back into the gear for the shows, and I've been forgetting this. So, Chucky, you keep making me look good, brother. Thank you. But anyway, hey, David, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming in. But today's question of the week is, are you going to read it, Don, or you want me to read it?
Okay. Today's question of the week. Oh, question of the day. I said it was question of the day. What question of the week for Wednesday? So we have 3 questions of the week every week.
Yeah, I know. Yep, this is one of them.
Okay. With the release or leak of the Navy Tic Tac videos from pilots encountering strange craft in the skies doing impossible maneuvers, it seems public sentiment has largely shifted to acknowledging that we are not alone in the cosmos. The passing of the object Oumuamua. Sorry, I'm not. Do you know that the Hawaiian language was actually translated into German first? So all of our translations from the German translation. Oumuamua in recent history spawned a new discussion led by Avi Loeb of the Harvard University that such objects might... Oh, I wonder if there's any gold... Sorry, I keep getting distracted, don't I? The passing of the object Oumuamua in recent history spawned the discussion that such objects might very well indeed be alien technology and potentially maybe some form of mothership or monitoring technology. Do you believe that this may indeed be alien technology that is meant to search potentially monitor what's going on here and other places on its journey? Or do you believe it's simply an unusual space rock drifting through the cosmos? That's a good question.
Thank you.
So, K-Love says, I think it was a scout ship sent by aliens or humans from another planet to look in on us. Also, it's really a rock. It's really a rock or something.
Is it really a rock?
Is it really a rock? Oh, gosh. I don't have my glasses on again today. Someday I'll actually start wearing my glasses and they won't work. Chucky Danger. Here's his answer. I don't believe it's too far-fetched to think that a spacecraft could be constructed out of rock. Yes. I'll point to our planet and all the megalithic structure technology that we don't understand. We just don't understand these days. If I were to venture a guess, it would be very wrong because of the vastness of the universe. I'd say that it was associated with the Anunnaki. These gods that came from Earth in the distant past were often the ones attributed to the megaliths. Who's to say that they couldn't make a stealth ship disguised as natural space debris? The name of the object is even suspect. Oumuamua means scout in Hawaiian. The trajectory of the object that the object took is curiously suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps okay. So Lars Grass actually responded to what Chucky said, and that is perhaps traveling through space. Perhaps four traveling through space, but the amount of heat that it would take to leave an atmosphere would dissolve the craft, and unless it was created in space and held ships inside of it, then I don't think it was created out of rock. Huh, interesting. Just here and there, 66 says if you built a ship inside an asteroid rock, then depending on the type of rock.
Yep.
There should be depending on the type of rock, you might not have to worry about microparticles, shielding it against said particles and having to pour so much energy into keeping your ship and passengers safe. So not only would not out of the world of possibilities. It seems like a mechanically sound idea. More power for the engines. Not being an engineer, I'm sure there are a lot of other benefits for shielding.
Mm-hmm.
Maggie says, I think unless you can put tech on Oumuamua and see and study it for ourselves, it's open to interpretation. Either way, the propulsion and movements of Oumuamua and how it might move through space, at the very least, indicates there's much more for humans to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Storm 00. Is that Storm 00 or 00?
Double lot.
Double lot. Okay, so
I don't know.
I just have a hard time believing anything our government agencies say on the alien UFO subject. I don't believe that a giant hunk of rock that flies through our solar system almost perfectly and spins around the sun and travels back the way it came can't be a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't be a fluke. Yeah, true. Let's also consider Black Knight, the Black Knight satellite, even Hale Bopp. I mean, Hale Bopp keeps coming back.
Sure.
It's on, a 78-year rotation. Comes by every, 78 years or something like that.
Sure.
Or is that the other one? What's the other one?
No, I think it's Hale Bob, but anyway.
But anyhow, so we have a lot of...
or is it Halley's Comet?
Halley's Comet. It's Halley's Comet. That's the one
okay.
I was thinking. Hale Bopp was one that Heaven's Gate said there was an alien ship traveling behind it, oddly enough. All right, so anyhow, but, so we've had these things in our solar system, even strange anomalies around Saturn, oddly enough, but that seems to be about the right place for something like that to happen. Mm-hmm. It's got everything to do with Lagrange points. So I have a tendency to believe that it is alien technology. I mean, it's certainly not a thermal blanket, not the Black Knight. You can't convince me of that.
No, I will tell you that several people have postulated that maybe the most efficient way to make deep space vehicles would be to retrieve asteroids, which have shown to be able to withstand the rigors of space for millions of years, and to repurpose those. In other words, maybe core them out, or
like
build
a cow,
build a structure inside of it.
Right. Because
the rock itself has already shown, it's already shown to be space-worthy and to be able to withstand the rigors over, extended huge amounts of time. And so then, as was suggested in the chat or in the comments, it's like, well, then really what you have to do is just worry about creating an environment you can live in, and then propulsion, and everything else is taken care of by the natural structure of the rock.
Right.
So I think it's, it stands to reason. According to what I understand from Avi Loeb, the shape of Oumuamua doesn't make sense for it to be a naturally occurring object, because there's nothing else that they've ever observed in space that has traveled from what appears to be another galaxy and made it this far. That's, basically a thin elongated piece of material. It's always more spherical or massive.
Well, if it was like in a collision in space, it would have splintered. If it would have hit it straight on, it would have kind of splintered.
Yes.
But it wouldn't be it would be in smaller chunks. Now, if it got broadsided, obviously it'd snap in half.
Right.
Or, possibly snap in half, depending on what hits it.
Right.
So, yeah, it doesn't make sense that it would be that long.
And even withstanding the rigors of coming so close to the sun without fracturing and shattering in more
Right,
pieces.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and who knows where else its trajectory has taken it, but it does seem to make sense that if you want a shortcut to developing a deep space craft, start with something that's already existing in deep space and just modify it.
Right.
Because aerodynamics is not a concern in space.
Nope.
You don't need to make it look like a cone.
Think
you don't
of the
need
Borg.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're cubes,
cube.
right? But everything in space is pretty much equal as far as shape and what it would move like.
You don't have to worry
'Cause-
about displacement.
Right? There's no drag. There's no none of the normal friction elements that exist in our atmosphere. So, it's just a vacuum or something akin to a vacuum. So yeah, I think it's pretty impressive. I think it probably could very well be alien technology. I think that's an exciting proposition, and it certainly maybe lends some possibility where these Tic Tacs came from. Or some other version of it that came by and we missed. But as more eyes are pointing towards the stars, I guess we'll maybe learn more. So very interesting. But thank you all for your feedback and for your ideas on that. I think you all were dead on, and it's great, great thoughts. I appreciate that a lot. So it's good to hear your thoughts because, again, with any of this stuff, there's no right or wrong answers.
42.
Yeah, it's all 42. Get your towel. But your ideas are just as valid as Avi Loeb's. Really, until it can be tested and challenged. His ideas are just as valid as yours, and vice versa. So
Rachel Gets It Right says, I'm waiting for the Pez alien craft, which would actually be what? It would be the mothership.
yeah, because it'd be spitting out Pez's
Yeah.
or Tic Tacs. The Tic Tac craft, it look like one of those flip tops. bunch of little Tic Tacs sprinkle out. I mean, it's kind of the same philosophy. But anyway, thank you all for your participation. I'll try to be more timely in my future questions so more of you get an opportunity to weigh in over a period of time. But I appreciate the robust last-minute responses you guys gave. Thank you so much. And again, thank you, Chucky. Making me look good. So this has been the Discord question of the week. Boom, huh? Huh, Don?
Boom.
Bada boom.
Bada
All right. So, yeah, I appreciate that. I love that segment. It's just great to hear what you guys have to say. All the time you guys are hearing what I have to say or what Don has to say and Sheldon has to say, but this is our opportunity to hear your words. And again, you guys have given me tons of gems to think about as I'm.
Well, don't forget, they can also call in.
They can also call in. And how do they do that, Don?
They would call the number 720
923
923-0500.
Yep. Let's try that again. You can call 720-923-0500 if you want to be a part of the discussion, or keep an eye on the lower thirds below me and Don, because thanks to Mr. Wes Germer, the phone number will show up and you can see it for yourself in case you forget. But yeah, very cool. All right. Where are we at? Yeah, we're in good shape actually for time.
Yep.
I'm a little impressed.
Oh, goodness. Sorry.
It's okay. You all right there?
Yeah, I'm good.
You good?
It was a long night.
Was it?
Yeah, driving home from Spokane is scary.
It is at night, especially because you just can't see anything,
Well, anytime I go into Washington, I get scared.
Yeah. No, I hear you. All right, so we're going to go back to an article we've been working on from petsreporter.com. Again, not your normal source for paranormal stuff, but they did one of the Reddit scrape articles, and by God, we're going to use it because they've been pretty good. This is an article from petsreporter.com, and it's people share freaky stories that make us wonder if we're living in the Matrix. Do you ever feel like you're living in the Matrix, Don?
Oh, my God.
All right, Neo, let's go. So here's one. It's the next one that of them that we're covering. And this one is kids say the darndest things. So this one is all about my brother. First of all, his parents named him Samuel. My parents named him Samuel.
I was like, whose parents were they?
His brother from another mother.
Brother from another mother.
As in the prophet, the guy who hears God calling his name. There's a story behind this too, but anyways, on 2 separate occasions, he has had really strange foresight. The first was when my mom's brother died. Nobody in the family knew, but when my brother woke up that morning, he said to my mom, "Somebody's going to die today."
Oh, boy.
My little bro is a really quiet kid and doesn't really say weird stuff. My mom was thoroughly freaked out and thought she had a crazy son, and later on, we find out that her brother had indeed died. Oof.
Where's the other occasion?
I don't know. He only gave us one, Don.
Yeah, doggone it.
You might have to...
Half the story.
Half a story, but still, a good half. All right, let's go to the next one, levitating Cheetos.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I don't like it when they do that. All right, I have a strange and inexplicably vivid memory from my childhood. One day I was playing Sonic the Hedgehog at my uncle's house and eating Cheetos. I got particularly engrossed in the game and started to reach over for the Cheetos without looking. I patted around on the floor with my hand before taking my eyes off the screen, and when I finally turned to look for the Cheetos, they're floating a foot off the floor. The instant I realized that they were in the air, it dropped to the ground. I ran out of the room screaming. Yeah, it's not what you expect from your snack foods.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like... I kind of could use a snack. Never mind. I'm not hungry. Yeah, Cheetos shouldn't be floating. Okay, this one is time shenanigans. Once I woke up and checked my iPod and saw that it was 5 o'clock. Seeing as how I didn't have to go to work until 7, I decided to try to go back to sleep. I very specifically remember checking my clock to make sure it was 5 because I didn't want to oversleep. Anyway, I fell back asleep. And when I wake up, I check my iPod to see if I have to go to work yet. I had a pregnant when I saw my iPod clock read 4:30. I checked my actual clock and that also read 4:30. Okay.
Had a pregnant.
I don't know. I don't know what I had a pregnant means, but it doesn't sound good.
Apparently it means he went backwards in time.
Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. That's a weird way of saying it, but quantum popcorn is next, folks.
Quantum popcorn here and there.
I was eating popcorn in front of the TV and dropped a piece, and when it should have hit the ground, I heard a faint pop noise. My mom was a stickler about messes, so I looked all over, under the couch, under the TV stand, everywhere, and I couldn't find that popcorn. About a year later, I'm watching TV, and I hear the same faint pop, and I look down. Right between my feet is a freshly popped kernel of popcorn.
Huh.
I pick it up, and it was still warm.
Well, that's because it came from my anus.
I'd been sitting there for at least an hour, and there was nobody else in the room. Quantum popcorn. Well,
No, it's not quite quantum.
Well,
Because the idea of quantum is instantaneous. Right?
well, if it's entanglement, yeah, but we don't know if it fell through a quantum time variable and popped back out. Yeah. So chemistry credit is next. They got Walter White on there.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. What kind of chemistry we're going to be working at here? The only thing I have is somehow I got a credit for chemistry in high school. I didn't take chemistry, but this credit allowed me to graduate early, and I have taken multiple classes where you need chemistry as a prerequisite.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, somebody loved you in the office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, somebody slacking a little bit on their records there, but
Either
yeah.
that or he was...
Meanwhile, there's a kid that did chemistry that now has to repeat
Yeah,
it.
right. I know I did my
What do you mean summer school?
Damn
What?
it, I got an A.
This one is, I bet you can't do that. Middle school. Me and a buddy are cruising the empty halls of our out of boredom before a fair thing starts for some stupid reason. I bet him $10 I can open any locker. He gets to choose which one. Well, he takes my bet and picks a random locker. He jiggles the handle and spins the dial on this a few times to make sure it's locked. I remember it was locker number 424. So I look at him and go, psst, watch this. I spin it, 6 right, 24 left, 34 right. And I remember thinking, these numbers sound right in my head. The latch lifts up and it swings open.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a little creepy, huh?
Nice.
That's kind of the Akashic records of lockers, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, maybe that's what's wrong with those lockers in that school over in like Britain or whatever it was. Was it Scotland, Britain, or Ireland? It was over in the UK.
What happened? I don't know.
Yeah, we've shown the video many times about the lockers.
Oh, the lockers popping
Yeah,
open and stuff. Yeah, maybe they're haunted. Maybe a ghost overrode it and said, yeah.
Well, here you go.
This is the combination.
I'll help you.
You're channeling it. Yeah, it might be a channeler.
Yeah.
Dream premonition is next. It says every so often I'll have dreams which play out exactly as I've dreamt them years later. They're usually insignificant moments, so I make a mental note and move on.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I had a dream. I made a sandwich. Sure enough, I made a sandwich. Yep. There you go. Premonition.
Oh my gosh, I got this sandwich maker the other day.
Jesus, Don.
I know.
We always got to end up in your kitchen somewhere, don't we?
So it's this thing, and you put your bread in there. You put like a hot dog, or we did egg and bacon and cheese. We made basically hot pockets. It was pretty smoking awesome.
Is it like a Foreman thing?
No,
kind of a knockoff.
No, it's just a. You could use it on a campfire.
Oh, okay.
And you just put it on
yeah.
your burner.
Yeah.
And you 2 minutes on each side, and it's freaking hot and ready to go. It's like, yes, baby.
Yes. Thanks, Don. I'm hungry now.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you do that every time you're here.
So yesterday when we were going to Shenyang, we stopped at the Mongolian barbecue.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was hungry.
Traitor. Should have had Chinese.
I should have Chinese. Well, technically it is Chinese. But it was funny because they did this ethnic Mongolian chopstick dance.
Oh.
And after it, I was hungry. It was horrible.
Okay.
I really had to stop and get something to eat. I was hungry.
Okay.
So, but anyhow.
Did I just enter the upside down? I was laying in my bed in my dorm room and looking out the window at the fallen snow at night. My roommate was across the room in his bed doing the same thing, and we were both talking about how nice it looked when, bam, I blink and suddenly it's daytime. I think I read this one before. Is it a repeat? I looked around and confused and didn't see my roommate anywhere in sight. Freaking out, I go looking for him and eventually find him and ask what happened. He had absolutely no idea what I was talking about, and I asked him, where did the night go? And he says, we were both looking out the window, looking at the snow, and then you just got really quiet and didn't say anything when I asked you questions, so I assumed you were asleep, but when I looked over, you were just staring there with your eyes open, looking out the window, and actually blinked a few times. I just thought you were sleeping with your eyes open.
Right. Yeah, we did read that one.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. That's like the second time it's come up. Spaghetti, whoa!
Oh, boy.
One time I spilled a bowl of SpaghettiOs, and as I was cleaning them, I noticed that one was in the ceiling 9 feet up. I didn't even drop the bowl. I just tipped it over onto the counter by mistake. But sure enough, a single O was right there, stuck to the ceiling.
Wow.
Quantum SpaghettiOs.
Well, they're round. They bounce.
Sure, it must be. When dreams imitate life. Right after high school, I got a job lifeguarding at a water park resort. I'd been there about a year, and by that point, dreaming about work was pretty routine. Dreaming about work was pretty routine?
Wow.
Okay. T, and then it says T. One time, I had a dream that one of my coworkers rescued an unconscious boy from a particular pool, and I remember clearly what the boy looked like. I went back to work the next day after the dream, after having a few days off, and about halfway through my shift, I see the kid from the dream walking through the park with his family. They were still in their street clothes and had just checked in, so there was no way I could have seen him before. I nearly fell out of my chair, and he didn't drown, but holy cow, was I careful to keep an eye on him the whole time he was visiting.
Wow.
Yeah, that's got to be freaky. Did you just summon Gary? I love the title. Sitting in a bar with some friends, laughing and joking, pop. Something in my head went pop, and it felt like my brain had been reset for a split second. Talked to others about it, and they had no idea what I was talking about. And then I said, Gary's here. I thought he was here for some reason. About 20 seconds later, Gary walks into the bar. Still not sure what happened. Tell him about it all later. He says he came because I called him. I checked my phone, did not call. He has no record of it either. It's like someone reversed time and screwed up some of the details of the memory wipe. Wow.
Well, there you go.
What? And that's all, folks. We finally made it through this article. So that's kind of cool, huh, Don?
That is kind of cool, yeah.
So do you think we're living in a matrix, or what do you think we're dealing with?
I don't know. It would explain. Thank you, Desi Arnaz. It would explain quite a few things. Quite a few things, about quite a few things, and why things just instantly just start getting weird, like this 2 + 2 = 5 thing. Anyhow, but it would just explain a lot of things. But then again, it wouldn't be as fun, because then ghosts would be explained, and aliens could be explained away, and that's just no fun.
Wait, what if all this weirdness that we talk about all the time was just glitches in the matrix, where we're kind of seeing through the illusions?
Right.
It's like, oh man, that'd be really disappointing.
Yeah, it would. I think
it'd be
so.
like, you're like on a series of stages, and suddenly the curtain drops accidentally, and you can see the other stage, and then it goes back up, and it's like, wait a minute, they're just doing a play over there too. That would be much less cool. So I like the magical weirdness that we embrace here on the show. So anyway, we're gonna do some cryptid corner stuff, Don. God, we got a lot of time yet.
Cryptid corner.
We have a lot of time.
We have a lot of time, yeah.
Maybe I should do one more article first, because I've been holding on to this one for a long time, and this is it could have been in the news, but I didn't put it in the news. But here's one from the CTV News Toronto. We'll cover this one first. Woman shocked when she sees a lion while walking her dog in Ontario.
Wow.
A lion, Don.
A lion.
Let's check out the video.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, that looks like our intro. Did Wes do it?
CTV's W5.
There's no regulations and no license required to set up a zoo.
Problematic conditions and questionable safety in roadside zoos.
Wow.
If anybody can go out and buy a lion, tiger, primate, wolf, that's a problem.
We have to continue to try to protect those animals.
Things.
Yeah, no kidding. You don't want some schmuck to turn into the Tiger King or whatever. What was that weird show? Tiger King or something like that?
Oh, I forgot.
Anyway, yeah.
Can always go wrong. Of course they do.
And
the black men were...
What the hell are we doing? I just wanted to hear about the tigers and stuff, not go through a tour through their news.
That's 10 minutes of news right there.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, so...
All right, I'm going to read it.
All right, dang it.
It's by Hannah Alberga, CTV News Toronto, multi-platform writer, from March 17th, 2023. A woman who visited Ontario last week said she was walking her dog at night when she came face to face with a lion through a chain link fence.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus. That's not what you want to see when you're walking a dog at night. An encounter animal advocates pin on the lack of exotic animal legislation governing roadside zoos in the province.
Wow.
At first, Quebec woman Patricia Lapetite thought she saw a big dog in a fenced-in yard, but as she strolled by with her speckled dog in the dark, she started to see the animal more clearly. Look at that thing.
Wow. That's a full-on lion right there.
That's big lion. It says, I saw a lion in a yard about 30 feet from the road, she told CTV News Toronto, and her dog Abby began barking as the two animals bolted parallel to one another, separated by a snowbank and a fence, as seen in a video Lapetite posted on social media on March 8th. Lapetite later learned that she had stumbled upon Jungle Cat World, what animal rights experts call a roadside zoo located in Clarington, Ontario, about 100 kilometers east of downtown Toronto. Lions, tigers, jaguars, hyenas, and leopards live at the Wildlife Center. Oh, man. That's not probably a really great setting for those animals, which has been open since 1983, according to its website. The park also offers a safari gateway where visitors can fall asleep to the roar of the lions and howling of the wolves at an on-site bed and breakfast.
Oh my goodness.
The lion's enclosure is perched next to a concession stand across the street from a gas station, a local restaurant, and down the road from resident houses. CTV News Toronto visited the area on Monday and could see the lion in its enclosure from the road. La Petite's video now has 3,000 shares on Facebook with more than 5,000 likes on TikTok, and has sparked a lively conversation circling the question, why is a lion living along a public road within walking distance from local businesses and residential houses? Yeah, that's weird. And here's a map that kind of shows the setting for it all. I mean, there's a clover leaf here, and then there's the lions. I mean, you know, it's neat that, you know, they people can see these large animals for themselves, but this can't be right for them.
That was a basic chain link fence.
Yeah. You know that enclosure wasn't like...
I have dogs that can climb those. You were just talking the other day about alligators climbing them.
They'll climb over fences.
So,
I saw a video of that. That's freaky.
So do you think a lion's going to stop a lion if it really has intent?
Yeah.
All that matters is intent.
Is that even legal? I never knew you could possess any type of exotic animal like that. With all the houses around it, one person commented on Facebook, I know I wouldn't want to be living in that area. Another person posted, not sure, but I think the fence is not really useful. It's still a feline that jumps very well. On Monday, Animal Welfare Services said they inspected Jungle Cat World in response to a complaint regarding the lion, and Solicitor General spokesperson Brent Ross told CTV News Toronto, at the time of inspection, all the lions were in their enclosures and there was no threat to public safety. Yeah, but when they're not in their enclosures, then it's a threat. And is it hard for them to get out of their enclosures? But from the point of view of Michelle Hammers, World Animal Protection's wildlife campaign manager, the lion's enclosure is completely inadequate. Lions can jump as high as 12 feet, which is why professional zoo standards recommend keeping lions behind fences at least 15 feet high, she told CTV News Toronto. Beyond height, Hammer said the fence should have had an overhang at the top to prevent the animal from climbing it. Yeah, that's crazy.
That is true, yeah.
Jungle Cat World did not respond to the channel's repeated request for commentary on the Quebec woman's encounter and the lion enclosure. This is the second time in 3 years that the World Animal Protection has raised concerns about Jungle Cat World. Well, you know it's going to get shut down. And I feel bad for those people that are doing this because maybe it's truly a labor of love. But yeah, you got to make sure that it's truly safe.
How do you keep feeding them since 1983?
I don't know.
That's a lot of freaking money.
That's a lot of dog food done. In 2019, the wildlife park made headlines offering close-up photo opportunities with tiger cubs, wolves, and other wild animals. Less than a decade earlier, a 2-year-old wolf named Shadow escaped from a double-fenced enclosure at Jungle Cat World and was fatally shot by a local resident.
Yeah, well.
In a complaint report penned by the World Animal Protection and submitted to Provincial Animal Welfare Services in September, the group claimed the facility was not in adherence with numerous provisions in the Ontario Regulation 44419 standards of care and administrative requirements. So, I don't know. That's not the article I thought it was going to be. I thought this lion had escaped from somewhere and was just walking down the street, which would be a much more terrifying version. But still, you look at that fence and there's not, I mean, that's what, 8 feet tall maybe? That's not a lot of fence for an animal that could jump 12 feet.
No.
It'd just be like, bloop.
No.
There's a taco walking on a leash. Yeah. I mean, that's about it, right? That's creepy. So there you go, folks. Lions. Now I can close that article. It's only been open forever. There's a couple of great stories now I want to get to. We're going to be visiting Phantoms and Monsters tonight. There's Lon Strickler's site. And if you haven't visited this site, check it out. There is so much information here. And if you like reading about cryptid encounters and people seeing things, their reports, check it out. There's literally thousands of articles over there. Lon's research teams are based out of here, as well as Lon's books and his podcast, Phantoms and Monsters Radio. So check out phantomsandmonsters.com and let them know we sent you. All right. Here's the article, first one in our cryptid corner tonight. This is, again, phantomsandmonsters.com. Massive laughing humanoid stalks campsite and mutilates dog in the Smoky Mountains. This is Tennessee. Smoky, well, it could be in Kentucky as well, but I don't know which. It says, the following account is an excerpt from a recent post. This incident seems very familiar to an encounter with the Great Smoky Mountains, possibly from the same person, and I'm not able to verify it, so you make your own conclusion. Okay, here it goes. After 30 long years, a Tennessee man has finally revealed the reason behind his abrupt decision to stop going into the woods. The man, who's chosen to remain anonymous, has kept his secret hidden for decades, but recent events have prompted him to speak out about the harrowing experience that led to his avoidance of the Tennessee wilderness. The tale he tells is one of fear, survival, and a brush with the unknown that changed his life forever. He says, on this particular day, he packed light and only hiked a couple of miles into the Smokies. He set up a camp and spent a perfect day exploring the area with his faithful canine companions. As late afternoon arrived, the man was ready to settle down and start a fire to warm up the campsite. And however, he noticed that his two dogs seemed unusually agitated, barking and growling at something in the distance. Even though they'd always managed to keep bears away before, the man couldn't help but feel a twinge of concern. As night began to fall, the warm summer air enveloped the campsite, prompting the man to leave the tent door open. Mm-hmm. He settled in for the night with his two dogs nestled close to him, and he woke too soon, seeing bright moonlight illuminating his camp, before he realized the dogs were making deep, low growls and had hackles raised at something. And he then noticed another noise like a thrumming groan coming from outside of the tents.
Huh.
The source of the groaning noise became apparent as the man's eyes adjusted to the darkness. He could now see a dark outline that seemed roughly the shape of a bear lurking just beyond the now cold embers of the campfire. The man shouted at the dark looming figure outside the tent. To his surprise, the creature went quiet, but then began to grow in size until he was towering over the screen window in the tent roof. The man could hardly believe what he was seeing. He had never encountered anything so massive outside of a zoo. Meanwhile, his two dogs continued to growl, their instincts telling them that this creature was not to be trusted. He could hear the creature inhale a long, slow breath before letting out a trumpeting call. It sounded like a mixture of a lion's roar and a human shout. Well, the dogs were terrified into silence, and the creature bolted away. He was helpless to stop his canine companions from giving chase of the creature as they ignored his commands in favor of the hunt. Without a second thought, he grabbed his rifle and headlamp and ran after them. He could hear their barking in the distance, but they were moving too fast for him to keep up. Then he heard something that sent chills down his spine. A maniacal laughing sound like that of a hyena coming from the same direction as the dogs. Despite his growing sense of dread, the man continued to follow the sounds of barking and laughter, hoping against hope that he would find his dog safe and sound. But as the night wore on and the barks faded into silence, he realized he had to return to his camp or risk becoming lost himself. He stayed up all night waiting for the dogs to return to camp, calling for them occasionally, but to no avail. As soon as he saw the sun came up, he searched for his beloved pets again, and after hours of searching, he finally stumbled upon them. One was badly injured and whimpering from within a thicket of bushes, and the other torn to pieces.
Wow.
The loss of his dog's life hit him hard, and the surviving canine was never the same again, becoming fearful of both the night and the woods. The man knows he had an encounter with something terrifying in the woods that night, far worse than any bear or other known predator. To this day, he has never been able to fully explain what he saw and heard that fateful night, but he's certain that it was an encounter with an unknown creature that made him give up exploring the wilds of Tennessee forever. Yikes. Wow. That's a lot creepy, huh, Don?
That is. And, there's a lot of sounds that we don't know, from the woods or from, wherever it may be. So, most of us are city folk for the most part.
Yeah.
And so we don't, I mean, God forbid me, don't ever hold this against me, but I'm originally from Seattle. So when I moved over here into Spokane, I realized, and you know what the thing is, though, is I'm from the peninsula where there's lots of trees, right? But
Sure.
I was just kind of, oblivious to it all. So, but when I moved over here into Spokane and started working at one of the juvenile facilities over here, I pulled up to the juvenile facility and I got out of my car and I was walking around and all of a sudden I heard this, right? And this thing fell out of this tree. It just scared the shit.
Scared the love out of you.
I left some tracks behind on that one. Then I found out that it was actually a raccoon. They were fighting in a tree.
Oh.
And one of them fell out of the tree. That's it. That's all it was. Scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah. Well,
man.
Understandably. Oh, that's the furnace.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm going to close that door.
Yeah, if you would. Thanks. Yeah, it's the fan doesn't turn on as often now, so it gets noisy when it does. It's got a bit of a vibration to it, actually. All right, so we're going to get to another one from Phantoms and Monsters here, so hopefully this one will be good, too. It's another weird creature report. I don't know. This is one that I don't know what to do with. Sometimes these come up where something is encountered, but it's so incredibly different from most everything else. Like a lot of them you can quantify, well, it's a Bigfoot. Well, it's a dogman. Well, it's a, what do they call those white walkers or white crawlers or whatever? The rakes. Yeah. Essentially the rakes. It's those are generally easily classified and fit, but sometimes there's these weird ones that pop up. Like, what the hell is that? I don't know.
Like the night crawlers.
Yeah. Those are weird, and I don't know. I'm not really a huge believer in them.
I'm not convinced on that one. Yeah.
No, I think it's mostly marionette videos or whatever. But this one is coming from phantomsandmonsters.com, so let's see what it says. What did I see? Bizarre, tall, thin humanoid and grinning man encountered. Yeah, this one's weird. Sounds like that. What's that guy's name? Frost? What's his name? That alien? Indrid Frost. Yeah. Yep, that's what I was thinking of. I'm going to sneeze.
I too. That was more than just a sneeze.
Oh, I love sneezes, though.
Yeah.
I really do. I enjoy sneezing. It's like, oh, cleansing. Gives me tingles after every one. I don't like the snotty nose that usually follows, but anyway, it's allergy season, so I get what I get.
There's a Uranus joke in there somewhere that I'm just going to leave laying right there.
All right. A man and his cousin are driving home late at night when a tall, thin humanoid, then they observed a one-eared grinning man sitting in the sidewalk near a bicycle. Both are freaked. The following account was forwarded to me.
Okay.
Says, this encounter has been on my mind for some time, and I'm looking for some answers or information. I just don't know where to post and who to ask for help. I was 18 when this happened. What? How about a shout out to get the chat going? Oh, do you want to do shout outs first?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, we'll do shout outs. That's fine.
All right. So if you're not participating, you ain't getting a shout out, and there's only like 10 people, and 2 of them are sitting right here. Whoa. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you out.
Yeah, well,
my apologies.
Obviously there's more here, but
gosh, that was 2. One right in front of you, and one just kind of like right there.
Yep. Yeah, there you go.
That scared the crap out of me. Anyhow, my apologies.
That's the freakiest noise.
All right, so let's get back to the shout out that nobody has taught. As a matter of fact, they got smaller. Let me refresh it real quick. Let me see what I can do. Better shout out because this is it.
Yeah, if you want to get a shout out, you got to say something in the chat. Otherwise,
all right. So we've got Aggravated Progressive, Barbara Mora, Chris. I still haven't. Sir HC,
Cirque, maybe.
Cirque. I don't know. Chucky Danger, David Barnes, John Stevenson, Just Info Arsonist, Maggie M10, Rachel Gets It Right. Chicken Leg 71. Wow.
Yeah.
Who else? Anybody else out there? Britches was here earlier, but for some reason she disappeared.
Corey English.
Okay. Yeah. Jaron from
Supernatural Station
was here a bit ago.
Good.
And there you go. Shout outs are done.
All right. So thank you for the shout outs, guys. And thanks for being here. Those of you that are. And for those of you that are just kicked back and listening, thank you for being here as well. All right. So let's get back to this article. Eric says hello. Hello to you, Eric.
Hey, Eric.
And John Stevenson. Good. All right. So it says, when I was 18 when this happened, I and my older cousin, who was 19 at the time, and we were coming back from a family party. So our spirits were high, even though it was 2 a.m. On our route home, there is a very long road that is quite wide, and on both sides there are tall trees. Not something you'd call a forest, but dense enough it creates darkness on each side. However, on the left side, there's a thin strip of sidewalk, and on the right, the sidewalk is wider, so wide you could probably drive down it. We're just having a heart-to-heart talking about various things like traveling, our family, generally what we want our future to be like, and we weren't driving fast at all because we really didn't want to go home. Well, I caught something out of the corner of my eye, and not knowing what it was, I turned to look out my window, but I couldn't see anything. In my gut, I felt something was off, and a wave of sadness came over me for no specific reason. I just felt like crying. I was about to ask my cousin if he was all right, but when I looked up, I saw a figure run from the left side of the sidewalk to the right. It scared me so much because I'd never seen anything like this before. It looked almost like a human, but I knew it couldn't be, as it was extremely tall and it was so skinny, and its arms were long and looked to be thin. My cousin slammed on the brakes, and I knew what I just saw, he saw too. Wanting to know what it was, I looked to the right side and was utterly confused. A man on the right sidewalk was sitting there next to his bike. He looked at us and smiled. He was wearing cycling gear and his bike was on the ground. I was shocked and confused. Why would he be cycling at 2 a.m? And I crawled over the console and leaned over to my cousin so my face was right up to the window. I stared at the man as he smiled back at me, but his smile had changed. It was so wide and toothy. He looked kind of normal, but so out of place. As I examined him, I noticed he only had one ear, and where it should be was totally flat, but everything else was just what you'd expect a human to look like. The man stood up, and my cousin pulled me away from the window and back into my seat. He drove off so fast I didn't even have time to look through the mirrors to look back at the man. Well, I tried to talk to my cousin about it that night and various other times, but he just snaps at me, telling me to drop the topic and never to bring it up around him again. I know what I saw, but at the same time, I have no clue what it is. Yikes. And no comment from Lon on that one, so we just don't know. It's kind of one of those weird one-offs. Is it a glimpse into another reality, or what the hell's going on there? I can't even pretend to know for sure.
Van Gogh's ghost.
Yeah, maybe. Well, here's another one from Phantoms and Monsters. .com. Black Spider-Man humanoid encountered in Arizona desert. For any of you in Arizona, be careful. I don't know. These are creepy. These are the weird ones because they're just kind of there and then they're not, and they don't get reported very often, but when they come up, they're very strange.
They are very strange. Yes.
An Arizona man who claimed to have seen the Phoenix lights also had another bizarre encounter with a creature that he described as looking like the Black Spider-Man. The following account was forwarded to me. When the witness was in high school, he and some friends would drive out into the desert outside of Phoenix to a secluded area known to locals as the Ravine. Essentially, the ravine was a monstrous man-made hole with perfectly flat walls running down all 4 sides, so deep into the ground that it was hard to see the bottom. The walls had no ledges, and it was nearly impossible to climb in or out. Think of a giant square-shaped well in the middle of the desert. One moonlit night, they were all gathered around the hole, drinking and partying, as they were prone to do on occasion. They were tossing rocks and beer cans down into the ravine when suddenly they all heard something strange. It sounded like it was coming from somewhere deep in the bottom of the hole. Their flashlight was a little help, but it was just too deep to see all the way to the bottom. The witness immediately assumed it was a bird or possibly some other animal that had fallen in but wasn't sure. And suddenly they heard whatever this thing was coming up the other side. But how? There was no way a bear or a deer or a bobcat or any four-legged animal could climb that thing unless it was a spider. That's the thing. We saw it. We saw it. The best way to describe it is, you know, the black Spider-Man, the evil Spider-Man, the one in the black. Well, that's what it looked like. It looked like a human. Whatever it was, it had arms and it had legs, and it ran in a diagonal motion, in a zigzag motion, and it ran up and shifted to the side and zigzagged back and ran up again. I swear to God, I have no idea what the hell it was. It definitely wasn't a person. I can tell you that. There's no way a bear or any other animal could get up that unless it had wings. Okay, there's nothing to grab onto. I know it was real. I saw it as it crawled up. Rocks and sand were falling. It made noises. The actual thing didn't make noises, but rocks and sand that fell made noises. We freaked out. The thing zigzagged out, and when it got to the top, I took off. It took off, and we couldn't see it anymore. We just looked at each other and said, "It's time to go. Let's go." And we all took off. I don't know what it was. I don't have a clue, but it was weird.
Wow, that's weird.
That is weird, man. Oof. That's not what you like to see Spider-Man doing.
They were the only ones that saw it? All these people there, and they were the only ones that saw it?
Well, I don't know if all the people saw it or just those two did or however many. I don't know.
Wow.
I'm not sure how many people were present. It doesn't really say, but yeah, that's kind of creepy. So what is it? I don't know. Maybe that black hole, that squared hole is it was meant to trap something that didn't work.
Yeah, no doubt.
Maybe. Just saying. I can't rule out the possibility, but let's go to the next one. This one is a black-eyed kids encounter, Don.
Oh, boy.
You love these.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We don't get a lot of these because, quite honestly, these reports don't come in very often, or at least I don't see them very often. But this is Black-Eyed Kids Encounter Gets Really Weird from phantomsandmonsters.com. It says, a Birmingham, UK resident comments on an encounter with black-eyed kids who had been outside playing in the rain. When they approached him and insisted on going into his house, things got strange. I received the following account. My name is Ali, and I'm from Birmingham in the UK. It was April of 2017, and it had been raining pretty heavily for a few days, so there hadn't been any children playing outside. However, on my way back home from work, it must have been around 6:30 or 7 p.m., I saw two children playing in the rain. Well, I thought nothing of it since I did it as a child. It always rains in the UK, so we just learn to adjust to it sometimes. Well, a few hours later, I was leaving my house to go to the gym, as I do most evenings, and these two kids are still playing in the exact same spot. I thought maybe their parents told them not to move too far away from the house, which made sense. So I just carried on my way. I was returning home from the gym, and it was now 9:35 p.m. exactly, and these kids were still there. Only this time they acknowledged that I had seen them, and the younger of the two approached me and simply asked if I would let them in because it was raining and their parents weren't home. Well, I was going to let them in until I saw their eyes. There it is, Don, the eyes. It's always the dead giveaway. They were completely black, the entire eye, black as coal. The brother began to approach, and it looked as though he was older. The younger sibling was defiant and definitely in charge. She asked again, and this time with more anger in her tone, "Just let us in." I stood frozen in fear, so I said, "Let me get you some help," and then I turned away and sprinted to my house, locked the door, and ran to the window upstairs, and I could see the kids still there. Now, this is where it gets weird. I took out my phone and thought, let me take a Snapchat of this and warn others. As soon as I took out the phone, they both looked up into the window, and they knew what I was doing, and my phone, which was 65% battery at the time, just died. I plugged the charger in, and nothing.
Wow.
It wouldn't even turn on. It was just dead. I looked back at the window, and the kids are gone. The next day, I went knocking on the doors of the neighbors, and none of them had children except for one couple who had one child, but it was only 6 months old. I definitely believe I had an encounter with something else. Yeesh. Yeah.
Yep. That sounds like black-eyed kids.
Don't let them in, folks. If they come a knocking, don't let them in. All right. So, cool story. I love black-eyed kids stories, but again, they don't come up that often. So, what's going on there? I don't know. What are they? I don't know. I'm not even sure they're actually physical. They appear to be. They seem to interact physically, but they also seem to be something else. But I don't know. You be the judge.
Rachel says, I think BEKs are avatars of negative energy.
Could be.
Energy vampires using the children as vectors of evil.
Ooh, Vectors of Evil.
Yeah.
God, that sounds like a good book title.
It's like something she just pulled out of like.
Nice job, Rachel.
Horrible. Nice. Vectors of Evil.
Rachel gets it right. Brings us a next installment in her horror series, Vectors of Evil.
Oh my.
I like it. Very good. Yeah, I mean, it could be. They could be some sort of demonic possession or infestation in these little children, or maybe they're just mimics. Maybe they just mimic children, but they're some kind of dark entity. I don't know. But whatever the case, it doesn't ever end well when they come inside. It just goes all kinds of bad. So, all right, let's continue on. Didn't know you were going to get a black-eyed kid story tonight, did you?
Nope,
You're welcome.
sure didn't.
You're welcome, Don.
Yanks.
I know how much you love them. All right, let's go to the next one from Phantoms and Monsters, and then we got one more. Then I'm going to have to figure out what to do with the rest of the show. All right, so this one's from April 6, 2023. This is recent scary Bigfoot encounter near Appalachian Trail in Perry County, Pennsylvania. And the last one is a Bigfoot story too. Yeah, let's see what this one says. Sorry, I'm going to get a drink here quick.
He's got to get a drink.
I'm doing all this reading. It leaves me quite parched, actually. All right, 3 friends living in south central Pennsylvania are hiking and camping on the Appalachian Trail near Duncannon, and they have a traumatic experience with a possible Bigfoot. I don't know what it is about the Appalachian Bigfoots and the Smoky Mountain Bigfoots, but they don't seem as lovable as the ones up here in the Pacific Northwest, Don. Moonshine, that might be it. They're just eating too much mash.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. Because they're probably just throwing the corn mash on the ground and going, "Oh, this is."
Yeah, we got to shine, and they're in there they're just mean drunks, Don.
Well,
okay,
at least they're not drop bears.
They might become drop bears.
God.
Be like 1,200-pound drop bears.
Could you imagine that dropping on you?
No.
I'd be like, I'd poop myself for a drop bear, but one of those?
Yeah. I grew up in rural Pennsylvania and have spent most of my life here, rather. I've been hiking all over the state at least once a week, every week, so since I began driving at 16, but all across the many state parks. I've spent thousands of hours hiking in the woods, and I've had 3 strange encounters now since the summer of 2022.
Wow.
Almost as if a door has been opened since the first one. That's the phenomena that I find the most interesting is once somebody has a paranormal encounter, suddenly they seem very, very likely to have more. And is that something triggered genetically or cerebrally that suddenly we have this new awareness after having an experience? Well, right. I think it's possible. So let's see what it goes on to say. The story I'm sharing today is the most recent thing that happened to me and my 2 buddies last Saturday night. It completely traumatized me. My 2 lifelong friends and I went on a spur-of-the-moment night hike Saturday night. I haven't hiked at night for nearly 2 years, and I used to hike alone all the time, but hiking with these 2 guys made us all feel bold. We were hiking near part of the Appalachian Trail where we grew up in Duncannon, and the Appalachian Trail runs through the town. There's a ridge next to the town with a very popular hiking vista called Hawk Rock. At the base of the mountain, there's a creek that flows into the Susquehanna River, and a road that follows this creek back into the woods for about 1.5 miles. It leads to Boy Scout camp shelters and water wells, follows the creek around a bend, and then ends where the road ends. We have a low-key camping site that follows an easy-to-miss trail that continues past the road and goes into the woods another couple hundred yards, and we're about 2.5 miles from the car. We're sitting there talking about Sasquatch and encounters. Both of my friends have maybe never, but it says ever had an encounter. And this night was totally dark with no moon. We couldn't see each other side by side without a flashlight, and it was dead quiet. In hindsight, it seems weird. These are normally lots of frogs along that creek, and I've been at this campsite about 24 times and never had anything happen to us there. We're talking about missing 411 in my 2 previous encounters. One friend has never heard the Sierra sounds, and my other friend told me not to play them. I made 2 tree knocks, and then we played the Sierra sounds in total darkness.
Oh, my gosh.
So it did exactly the
Wow.
opposite. Well, this is not a friend you want to bring camping. Can I blame East Coast Sasquatch? Sasquatch All-America Wars took place on the East Coast. Can you blame East Coast Sasquatch? All-America Wars took place on the East Coast. I don't know.
Can you blame him about being so ornery? Because
Yeah.
all of the wars have been,
Maybe that's probably true. That's probably true. On cue, not even a minute went by and a huge rock splashed into the creek about 30 yards away from the direction of our trail and the only way out. I was already on my feet. I've thrown many rocks into creeks, rivers, and lakes, and that rock was huge. It made that whoop sound of breaking the water and crashed into the creek bed. Immediately, we felt that sense of dread and danger. Then it happened. A second and a third time back to back. Oops. I said we need to get the hell out of there right now. We were 100% sober. I've been up and down that creek by kayak trail, fishing, and it's one of the few areas in Pennsylvania that doesn't have beavers. I've never seen a beaver or signs of beavers anywhere along that creek. I've heard beaver tail slaps, and it didn't sound like that at all. It was loud and scared the crap out of us. It was so close to us that I didn't seem like it was just a coincidence. We packed our bags up at hammocks in less than a minute and started walking out the direction of these splashes. We got parallel to where it happened, maybe 30 seconds later. The creek was 5 feet to our left, and there was a fog over the creek, and we couldn't see the other side, but there was nothing over there but woods. And then it happened a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th time. Loud splashes of large rocks crashing into the water right next to us. I was on point, and we were going through this trail with the brush to our right and the creek to our left, dark. And we weren't speaking to each other. We stuck together and were only focused on getting out. We go back to the road, and we were practically jogging back to the car. We were saying that was weird, and that was too close for too conveniently timed. We continued down this road and got a mile away from where it happened. The road was maybe 50 feet from the creek, and now a little bit higher up, but still parallel to the creek, and completely silent. So quiet you could have heard a pin drop. We begin to feel like we were okay now. But then it happened again. A large, loud splash in the creek below is perfectly parallel to us. The sense of danger was palpable, and we could feel it around us. Something was on the other side of the creek mirroring us. The problem was there are no trails, no houses, nothing but woods over there. Whatever it was over there was keeping pace with us as silently, without light and without a trail, and we could feel it. We got to the end of the road, and two kids were walking in with lights. We saw them coming, and I said to my friends, we have to tell them what just happened. We couldn't let those kids go in there without warning. We told them what happened, and all of us were clearly shaken and rattled. We got into the car and drove back to my buddy's place in town. For 3 hours, we tried to rationalize and reason what it was. You couldn't think of any animal that checks all the boxes of the behavior. If it was somebody messing with us, they were in the middle of nowhere, without a light, throwing large rocks and moving silently without a trail. If it was an animal, we would have heard it moving. If it was something in the water, we would have heard it displacing water while moving. I know the area like the back of my hand. I'm terrified to go back outside again and afraid as soon as the sun goes down. We all felt like we were lucky to get out of there. I was excited about spring and summer and to get back out hiking again, and I'm now terrified at the thought of it. Yeah, that'll change your whole belief. Yeah.
Wow.
What do you think, Don?
Well, the note's interesting too that Long added.
Okay. He says a couple was murdered on the Appalachian Trail not too far from this location in September of 1990. The stretch of the Appalachian Trail from the Mason-Dixon line through the Mishaw State Forest north of Duncannon and into Lebanon County is well known for Bigfoot and cryptid canine activity.
Cryptid canine.
Ooh, yeah.
So there you go. But is there do dogmen, do they throw rocks?
I don't know that I've ever heard that reported.
I don't recall. Mostly it's just like menacing bluff charging.
Yeah. They just get right up in your grill and
yeah,
let you know they're pissed. Yeah, they don't seem to have any avoidance issues at all. Like a dog man just kind of comes up and says, "Get the hell out," and it makes sure you see it real good. But the Bigfoot tends to be more elusive and such. This story I thought was cool. I did read through this one, and this one I guess will be the last Phantoms and Monsters story of the night. This one is from April 9th, 2023. Again, from phantomsandmonsters.com. And it says, Florida skunk ape saves man from certain death in the Everglades.
Wow.
Now, I love these stories because it shows the other side of it. You know, we get the intimidation, the killing of the dogs, and yet there's these stories that seem to exhibit some serious altruism on our behalf from these beings. And maybe it's the old, well, you just got the good one and you didn't get the crabby one. But I guess maybe it's a roll of the dice, which one you're getting. But Florida skunk ape. So we're going down to Florida. A man named Anthony Cross wrote about the time Bigfoot saved him from certain death. The incident occurred in the Florida Everglades after the witness had sustained a severe injury.
Wow.
It's 1982 and I just ended my time in the Army. After getting home, I found nothing had changed. That and my experiences in the service left me in a poor mental state. I love the outdoors of camping from an early age. So I foolishly decided that camping in the Florida Everglades would give me the peace of mind I desperately needed. After 3 days, I had enough. I packed up my gear and headed out only to realize that I had somehow gotten myself lost. There was about 7 hours of daylight left, so I climbed the tallest tree I saw just to get my bearings. Well, the tree was pretty thin, and just as I saw the way I needed to go, I slipped down and fell above 16 feet.
Wow.
My knee and ankle were sprained very badly, and the pain was nearly unbearable. I limped as far as possible in the direction I needed to go, but soon I couldn't stand the pain anymore. Finding the path leading out, I sat and started scooting backward as best as I could. It was hard going, as the path was made of crushed shells and gravel.
Right.
Yikes. An hour later, and I saw a large cat come out of the bush. It slowly started towards me, much like a house cat does when it sees a bird. Feeling very vulnerable and unarmed, I knew I was in deep doo-doo. Each time I scooted backwards, it would lunge and sort of flap its front paws. Craziest thing I ever saw. It was about 10 yards from me when from my right came a rock about the size of a softball, flying horizontally like a missile. It struck the side of the cat's head so hard that aside from literally exploding, It folded around backward and slapped its body. I heard the crunch and saw the blood mist on impact. I swear every single word is absolute truth. I looked to the right and saw him standing there just inside the tree line. Massive dark hair covered except for his face. It was dark, but easily human-like, and made eye contact. And I felt very calm. To this day, I can't be sure if I heard or just felt safe, but I heard that word inside of my head. I look back at the cat. I thought it made a gurgling sound. I don't know, but when I turned my back, my savior was gone. I was replaying everything in my mind when I heard a crack at 5 o'clock. As I turned towards the sound, a long, thin stick came flying out of the trees, landing a few feet behind me. I never saw or heard him after the first moment, but I was positive he threw me a crutch to help me get on my feet and make it out. Over the years, I held the experience to myself alone, knowing I'd be locked up if I told anyone. There are bad apples in every species, but people need to understand they have compassion for us unless unless attacked. So that's the source was it tried to take my wife and a new trail cam photo, the facts by how to hunt, rather. But again, it threw that rock so hard that it just literally burst the cat's head, and the cat's head whipped around and hit its own back, and then there was like a blood mist, like a sniper shot kind of thing. I've often thought that their rock throwing is not just a nuisance thing, like they probably hunt with rocks.
That's very reasonable, because something that big could probably run pretty well, but it probably couldn't run very long.
Right.
It's deadly at short sprints, like a dwarf. So I can imagine it's pretty good at running, but it prefer not to. So it's found its own ways to use certain tools, whether it be a stick and you step out from behind a tree and whack whatever it is you're going after, or throw a rock at it.
Right.
And if you can throw a rock fast enough, hard enough, you could probably create some red mist. So
I don't know if we could throw it that hard enough, especially on a big cat, because they've got pretty significant skulls.
True, yeah.
But to throw it hard enough, like a softball-sized rock, thrown with such accuracy and precision and force, that it was literally a missile into this thing's head, and I'm sure it saved his life, because he was being stalked. It's unfortunate. I mean, I don't like to see anything get hurt, of course, but I'm glad he made it. So I'm glad he lived to tell the story, because this is a side of the phenomena that we don't hear much of. We hear a lot of intimidation, a lot of throwing stuff near people, and really screwing with people. We hear stories of them trashing places.
Right.
But this side of them, I think, is really underrepresented. Maybe it's because people just haven't had these kind of experiences. But I think they're really noteworthy, and they're really important, because we do need to regard these things as intelligent. I really think so. And it's easy to think of them as animals, as monsters. Well, they're just monsters. They're just animals. But they're not. They are obviously very calculating. They're very intelligent. They're very, they're very articulate in their own way, with a whole spectrum of behavior. And so I think to just dismiss them as an animal is truly, it's just not even a fair representation.
Right.
No, I think they can be dicks too. I think they can be horrible things.
You think?
I do believe that they've probably killed people. I think that maybe people had it coming. I don't know, but maybe not. Maybe it was just one of those rogues that doesn't have a clan and they just run around hating everything. I don't know, but they do seem to have a structure. They seem to have rules, and they seem to adhere to it. But in this case, it was just like, and then it threw the guy a crutch.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of acknowledgement and intelligence is this?
Right.
Well, I can see you can't walk on that leg. You're going to need to lean on something.
Right.
How did they observe that? Would that be a behavior they would mimic themselves? Like, well, I can't walk on this leg. I got to get a stick, and use it like a crutch.
That's an interesting question.
Right. I mean, was that observed as they watch people,
Right.
or is that something they came to on their own? Because I don't think that it's impossible other intelligent beings could come up with the concept of a crutch.
Well, it's using tools. So
Right.
animals don't use tools.
Yeah.
But a rock as a weapon is a tool.
Right. And a
So,
crutch
yeah.
is a tool,
Yeah.
and tree knocks are a tool if they're grabbing a stick and doing it, or if it's their hands or whatever. We don't know. Nobody really has observed them doing tree knocks, but you ever watch those videos? If you ever watch a video of a big silverback, when he rears up and hits his chest,
All right.
and it sounds like somebody's beating on a tree trunk.
Yeah.
It's like, it's literally, and it's resonant as hell because their rib cages are huge. They're just barrel chest. They're like literally a 55-gallon drum, and it's all muscle. But it's possible that they could be making tree knocks with their own body, but they could also be using tools. So, I think that's a fascinating story. I love that story because it just brings another aspect of it back to the front. And, because it's easy to find the scary stories, and people are generally scared when they see them because it's just something you're not ever expecting to see.
It doesn't exist.
Right. It doesn't exist for most people. And when it does, it's just like, and I gotta empathize for those people too, because you're seeing something so huge and you don't know it's looking at you, and it doesn't, they don't look happy usually. They look crabby. So are you on the menu, or is it just like want you to leave, or is it just looking at you?
Right.
Just being curious? You just don't know. So, but I like the fact that he had like an intuitive understanding.
Right.
And the word safe came to his mind, like you're safe, you're okay. So is that mind speak? Again,
Telepathy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That would be what mind speak is, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty impressive. And I'd love to hear more of those stories, but there aren't a lot of them out there, but there are some. There's a story of a little boy that was out camping with his family in a forest somewhere, and I don't remember what part of the world it was. I know it was in the U.S., but they were camping, and the kid somehow wandered away, and he was like 6 years old or 5 years old. He was really young, maybe 4. But he was out in the woods, and he lost his way and couldn't get back, and he sat there crying. And then suddenly there was this big hairy creature next to him, and it grabbed his hand and walked him back to the edge of the forest by the camp.
Right.
And then let go, and the kid ran back to his family. But it was apparently a female, according to the reports. So, phone call with minutes left. Let's see who's calling us. This is area code 607. You're on the air.
Yo, Brent, my musical brother. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Is this David?
Yes, this is David. Yes.
How you doing, brother? Good to hear from you. What's on your mind tonight?
I'm doing good. And hey, Don, how you doing? And then, of course, to all the what do I call them?
Chatters.
Portal peeps, whatever. Yeah.
Portalinians or Portillions. There you go.
Portillions. Yeah. Yeah.
Portillions. I just made that up. But yeah, no, I was just calling because I just wanted to call in. I was going to tell you a story about a Ouija experience, but I'm going to save that for later because I was listening and you were talking about what this Bigfoot is, and I don't know if you throw religious dogma out the window, you get rid of all that.
Okay.
I'm thinking possibly, I don't know, maybe we've been coinciding with Neanderthal this whole time. I don't know, because they did a thing where they tried to recreate a skull from a Neanderthal, and it didn't look like that big heavy browed thing. It was hairy, and it was it looked like a Bigfoot.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe that's what it is.
That's an interesting take because but generally speaking, Neanderthals were only about 5 feet tall. They weren't an enormous race, but if then you look at the possibility, there's Neanderthal DNA in a lot of Europeans apparently. There's apparently trace elements of Neanderthal DNA in us, so it does suggest an interbreeding. But what if this was What if this is one step of the interbreeding that kind of broke off and did its own thing? And because according
exactly, I mean, there was a time where I was 5 foot, but now I'm 6. So I mean,
sure. Yeah, I'm 6 foot too. Whenever I tell somebody, but I'm not really. But if you listen to if you consider Melba Ketchum's study, she said that the maternal side was human female. The paternal side is the unknown. Yeah. Well, we do have I think there are pieces of Neanderthal DNA. Obviously, they can recognize it. So, what is that unknown parental or the paternal side? Was that some other offshoot? Right. Yeah. So.
Right, and what if it split off? Kind of, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like the whole, it just split off, and so it went their way. We went our way with technology,
sure.
with all that, and then they just stayed in nature. Yep. You would think that's what would happen if it was human. But I mean, when they're 10 feet tall, maybe that's what happens when you're in nature. You gotta make up for it. But
yeah,
who knows what it is? Nobody's ever gonna know. But
no,
hopefully we will.
Hopefully we'll
find out.
I think Don's running out of steam here.
I just wanted to call and say hello and throw down what do I call it? Portillions. Yeah, I love the Portillions.
All right, brother. Good to hear from you. Great to hear from you. Thanks for calling in.
Good talking to you guys. Bye.
All right, bud. We'll see you later.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are the good stories.
Those are the good stories. Even if you're only awake for part of them.
I was awake for the whole darn thing.
I did. I looked at the screen. I had to lean in. I was like,
no, they weren't closed yet.
Oh.
I was reading the screen. See, I was.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, they look closed. I was like, is Don sleeping?
Not yet.
I was going to type in the chat, is Don sleeping?
And I would have just answered you back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that's going to wrap up our journey tonight. We hope you had a good time. Thank you all for joining us and being a part of the fun here on the Paranormal Portal. If you're not already subscribed, please get subscribed. If you're watching this after it's live, then please give us a comment, give us a like. We would really appreciate it. It goes a long way into helping other people see our videos that may not be seeing them already. And be sure to spread the word. Let other people know and watch for our podcasts. Released every Monday. This week is Supernatural Station with Jaron and Roman Daniels. That's our weekly podcast. You can check it out on any of the major podcasting platforms as well as right here on YouTube if you look at the podcast episodes playlist. So, but Don, anything else? The Teespring maybe?
Teespring definitely, because you want gear.
If you want portal gear, you want to be emblazoned with the colors of the Paranormal Portal.
That's right.
Then by God, head over to Teespring. The link is in the description below, so that goes a long way to help us as well. But yeah, that's kind of the whole journey tonight, I think. I hope you guys had a good time. Thank you all for joining us. And remember, we'll be live on Friday night next. I guess I'll be live on Friday night, and then Sheldon should be here on Saturday. Nice. So. But anyway, thank you so much for being a part of the journey. Remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. And we'll see you on Friday night, everybody. So have a good rest of your downhill slide of the week. And we'll see you Friday.
Good night.
To celebrate the weekend.
The weekend.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.